Hi, I'm Helen with So Kind of Wonderful. Today we're going to be working on our Cool Beans block with Sedona, and this is block 6 in the pattern. And this is a fun block. It has just a couple curves on it. It has an accent strip of fabric in the middle, and I will show you the one that I have already worked on. So here I have already made a couple Cool Beans blocks. This is for my medallion layout. And it's really fun. I will be making the other one for the runner, and here are my pieces. These will be my curves, which are here. These are the background fabric, which go on each side of the curve. And then for the accent strip in the middle of the two curves, I'm actually going to use a print instead of background. And then these will be my these side end blocks. So let's get started making the Cool Beans block. The first step is to make your A curved shape. This is my 2x6 focus fabric, my QCR Mini ruler. I'm going to turn this over. No, let's get a different piece. See if we can make that easier to see. So first step is to align the fabric between the 7 and the 1, your top and your bottom edges. And then you are going to position the right edge of the fabric right here under the 3/4 inch line on the ruler. And then we're going to cut in our curve cutout. Regular rotary cutter. Cut in your curve cutout. That's your discard. Keep this. This is your A shape. Go ahead and do that cut with all of your A shapes. Here are my A shapes that I've cut. I layered them and I cut a couple at a time. Now let's work on our B shape. This is our 2.5x6. And again, we're going to position it under the QCR Mini. And for this one, we are, again, center between the 1 and the 7. And for this one, we have the left edge of the fabric under the 2-inch line here. And then cut in the curve cutout slot with your regular rotary cutter. So this is your discard this time. And this is your B shape. And now we have A and B. And A and B sew together. So let's talk about how we set that up for sewing. For sewing, we're going to decide which of these is the concave. So B is concave. So set it up like you're going to go to the sewing machine. Concave goes on the bottom, so we're going to sew from here down. So A will flip over onto B, and we'll leave just a little 1/4 inch tail. And then we're going to sew this down those curved pieces. And as it feeds under the presser foot, I'll bring the curved edges together. Okay, here we have our little tail. And I first like to start with a couple anchor stitches. And then we're going to hold one piece in each hand, and as it feeds, bring them together. I'm watching right here. And the bottom one, I'm really trying not to pull here because that will distort our block. Instead, just gently move it over. Here I'm going to just lift my presser foot a little. Sometimes you need to reposition the fabric. And there is our curved seam. It's really easy, no puckers. So go ahead and do that with your A and B pieces. Here are my blocks, and I went ahead and pressed them, and I pressed towards my focus fabric. Now we're going to square these up. We're started at 6 inches long, and a little check for you just when you're sewing. If you have one that after you sew it, one piece is a little bit longer than the other, that just means that, so for this one, my red piece is a little bit longer. I just pulled on that a little as I was sewing, stretched it. It's just a self-check to see how you're doing. It doesn't change the outcome of our block because we will square up our blocks. So now we're going to square these to 2 1/4 by 5 1/2. 2 1/4 by 5 1/2. And in your pattern, it shows you how to set up your block. So go ahead and put the fabric in the position that it indicates, and then use your QCR Mini ruler. And here we are positioning the 1/2 inch mark on the curved seam. So I'm going to mark my ruler. I'm just going to use a Sharpie. It's a gold Sharpie, and I'm putting a little mark at the 1/2 inch right on the top edge. And you can see that there, right there. And then down here at 5 1/2, I'm going to go in 1/2 inch and put a mark. Right there is that mark. So those are the marks that I'm positioning on my curved seam. Look at the top, look at the bottom mark. Oh, get that in focus for you. So look at your top mark, look at your bottom, position those right on the curved seam, and then come over here and check. Do you have enough to get 2 1/4? Yes. So I can get 2 1/4 by 5 1/2. So trim 2 sides. The side and the top. Now lift your ruler. Don't rotate the ruler, just rotate the block. Reposition, and this time put your trimmed edges on 2 1/4 and 5 1/2. So my trimmed edges are over here on 2 1/4 and 5 1/2. And then trim whatever is left. And there is your trimmed up AB Cool Beans block. So go ahead and do that with the rest of your AB blocks. Here are my blocks all squared up. And now I'm going to pair them with their match. I kind of went with similar colors, so purple to purple, blue-green to blue-green, red to red. So you can see mine here. So lay them out, and then you have an accent strip. So I'm making 3 blocks here. So I have an accent strip that goes in each of these. So go ahead and sew in your accent strip, and then press the seams either direction you want. I'll probably press towards my accent strip. Here are my Cool Beans blocks sewn together. Those are really fun. And I did press towards my accent strip on the back, although I noticed that I pressed this one the opposite way. So this one, I used background fabric here, so I wanted this to feel like it was in front, so I pressed towards this. Whereas this one, when I was deciding fabric, I decided to do a different piece here. And then the last step for our Cool Beans block is to make our side or end setting rectangles. So this is just a 2 1/2 by 2 1/2 square, and we have a 1 1/2 by 2 1/2 rectangle. So I'm going to sew these together, and these are my setting units to go between my Cool Beans blocks. So go ahead and sew those and press those seams. All right, here is my setting rectangle piece between my blocks. Press the seams towards the focus on the back, and that will just piece right into those sections here. So I'm going to go ahead and sew these together. I did try using, so my accent strip here and here, they're the same fabric. Just wanted to see what that was going to look like. I think that's a fun element here. Here are my blocks sewn together. I think they look great, very fun. They will go with these other blocks over here. And it's coming together nicely. So keep working on your Sedona blocks and we'll check in again next month.